take you to watch the latest explosive Korean drama in one breath. The word case begins with Won Fried. He was immortal from birth. Whether it's the sudden strangulation of Hiroma's rope or the blade cuts through 1,000 cold stings, at the last moment of life, there will be an irresistible force brutally dragging him to pieces. And the reason he did this all stems from his other ability. His name is Shin Hain-hee. Eerie red lines can be seen from childhood. Whether it's a character on TV or the star of a billboard, they all have red lines on their heads more or less. Young, he didn't know what it meant until this day. He found 5 red lines on his father's head. Ignorant, he painted what he saw on the atlas. Little did he know, this move dragged him into an endless abyss. After learning that their abilities could kill people, he wanted to commit suicide to escape this strange world, but the result was still unscathed. Also from this time, Deep West is determined to find all the answers. However, to avoid seeing the red line, he always wears a pair of sunglasses. Just when he thinks, when Ling suddenly remembered, spotted through the cat's eye is a young girl. Line West sees the red line on the girl's head, instinctively taking a step back. The girl rings the doorbell for a long time and gets no response, so she sat on the stairs by herself, explaining her purpose. It turns out that the girl is a new tenant who moved in a few days ago, just wanting to build a good relationship with the surrounding area. At the same time, Detective Han Ji-wook, as a local police officer, depends on each other with niece Shanae. He is still unmarried, occasionally doing something pleasant with colleagues, and he doesn't know at this point his niece was facing school bullying. To demand money, the school bully forced Shanae to the corner of the rooftop, threatening if she can't come up with the money again, then it will push her down from here. Late-night news discovered from TV. There was a murder near his apartment. A woman in her 20s who lived alone was strangled, died at home. However, just then, a delivery person appears on camera. And here's the weird thing, the delivery guy's got a red wire on his head. Well known, people with hundreds of red lines are extremely rare. But someone with a red thread is also unusual. What's more, it also appeared at the crime scene. Feel each other now. Might be trying to eavesdrop on something. But just then, the sound of a motorcycle appears in the community. Sensing something strange, he immediately opened the window and looked out. Sure enough, I saw the delivery staff who broke into the camera, saw the other party enter the apartment building, sensing dangerous information and wanting to make a call. It turned out that the phone was turned off. Unfortunately, I can only plug in the charger for the mobile phone first. And he continues to go to the window to check the situation. Through the window, he found that the delivery staff had entered the girl's house. Just then, the phone was charged and turned on. Anxious message. Immediately dialed the police number. When he was about to say something, the delivery guy was hugging the girl. At this moment, he realized that he might have misunderstood the other party. After all, the other party looks like a close couple. Just when he hesitates, he suddenly saw the head of the delivery staff grow, show a red line, and this red line is actually linked to the girl's head. Only then did he fully understand the significance of this red line. Next day, Han Ji-wook, who has been busy all night, just came home, received a call from one of my subordinates. He said he received a call last night, and the other party also mentioned the hard hat thing. The original suspicion of the takeaway has never been leaked. The location where the report was made was the apartment across from his house. Hearing this, Han Ji-wook immediately came to his home in the west of the county. Ring the doorbell before. To the horror of Shangshan West, he discovered that Han Ji-wook had countless red threads. It's the first time I've seen so many red lines. He hesitated to open the door. Just then, a man with glasses came downstairs. Tell him the people in the house won't come out. He is a famous house girl in the community, and there are special people to help him take out the trash. But Han Ji-wook didn't take it to heart. But to explain his purpose, Lee Kyu-jin learned that the other party, it's because of the report. So he opened the door and explained what was going on. Express that you see in. A man in a full hat enters the house of 200 for girls. Due to recent cases, mistaken belief that the girl is in danger. That's why I called the police. But finally, they found that the other party was a loving couple and closed the door. Seeing that I didn't get any useful clues, Han Ji-wook had no choice but to go home. This night, the delivery staff came to the community again, but this time it's on the Deep West. This apartment. Hearing the movement, Deep Line West came to the door. Want to see through the cat's eye. Found the delivery staff who originally wanted to leave. Turned back again. On the other hand, Han Ji-wook learned through his subordinates. The victim of the new wooden cave murder had an ex-boyfriend. Ex-boyfriend's name is Oh Jang-min. I was a teacher at Ark High School, and his address is the Deep Sinai Cave Apartments. And strangely enough, he maintained contact with the deceased throughout his lifetime. When he saw each other's photos, recognized at a glance, This is the very person he was talking to. After learning that he knew the two girls who were killed, instantly realized what? I immediately wanted to go and investigate. Then I got a call from the hospital. His father went missing in the hospital. In desperation, he had to go to the hospital to find his father. It turned out that my father was standing on the rooftop of the hospital. Just then the nurse from the hospital rushed over, carefully put the father, pulled down the stairs. Dongzi on the other side has arrived at Oh Jang-min's doorstep. However, I found that the other party's door was not locked. Unprepared, he actually went in alone. Little did he know that he had fallen into the other party's trap. He shines through a flashlight. Discover Youngwoo. Ming's house is filled with various tools for committing crimes. When he wants to call Han Ji-wook, Oh Jang-min suddenly appeared behind him. Before he could react, the other party threw a stick. Phone calls were cut off. Han Ji-wook stepped on the accelerator when he encountered danger. Drive towards the apartment. Dongzi on the other side wants to resist desperately. In the end, he was subdued by the other party. After doing everything, Oh Jang-min tied Dongzi to the stool. I'm wearing a helmet, and he was wearing glasses. There's only one left who still has a donut in his mouth. Then he walked towards the opposite side, and his actions were all sucked into the deep line. However, he also discovered that the red line on Oh Jung-min's head, it was connected to the second floor. He knows he can't sit still and wait, so I picked up the kitchen knife and tried to save people. He hadn't been out in years, and he was a little scared for a while. Even the next staircase fell to the ground when he struggled to get up from the ground. But I feel the world spinning inexplicably. In a trance, he saw his mother. The girl on the other side led the helmet man into the house. I thought it was my boyfriend, but I found out it was Oh Jung-min. This surprised him. Oh Jung-min sees his girlfriend. Many red lines appear on the head, and I grabbed him by the neck. Mouth still. This is the best way for them to get redemption. Just as the girl was about to suffocate, Shin Hye-in suddenly appeared and stopped, and Oh Jung-min instantly recognized the other party, looking at the dagger in Shin Hye-in's hand, and he was very interested. Fang stabbed himself to death and saw the other party trembling and hesitating. He grabbed the pen. Poke your hand into the deep depression and suck your abdomen. It's a little Blanca. After solving the deep trap, Youngwoo turned around to strangle his girlfriend, and when I was ready to get started, but the glasses were knocked off by the other party. The sudden change made him panic, crazy fumbling for glasses on the ground, and girls want to lift deep. Shio leaves together. On the other side, Han Ji-wook came to the community. Just about to go upstairs, I saw the sunglasses falling from the deep sea. Realizing something, he immediately came to Shengshin. Ji's house is here. He saw clues from Shin's years of investigation. Just when Han Ji-wook was surprised, the girl's screams came from outside the window. Oh Jung-min at this time. He grabbed the girl's neck again, and Han Ji-wook hurriedly rushed to the window. Through the window, he saw Jung-min throw the girl to the ground. Then he stepped forward and grabbed the other party's neck again. Just as the girl was being strangled, Lee Kyu-jin struggled to climb over. Here's a guarantee for Che. The sudden change sent him into a frenzy. He even pulled out the dagger on his leg. I want to give Shin Hye-in a fatal blow. Result next second. Just as Oh Jung-min died, he saw the fading red line. Mouth kept muttering. Soon a large number of police came to the apartment to investigate. Han Ji-wook also returned the sunglasses he found to Deepline. West looked at the sunglasses in his hand. Think of Oh Jung-min's glasses. He realized that the reason why Oh Jung-min could see the red line, most likely it's because of the glasses. It just so happens that good and evil have returned to the community at this time. He recognized the deep depression at a glance. And Han Ji-wook also learned from his niece. Deep down, including his mother as a child. The thing about killing his father. On the other side, Deep Singh sat alone on the rooftop. After this experience, he figured it wasn't a bad thing he could see the red line, at least save innocent people, so he took off his sunglasses. Look at this strange world full of red lines. While he was thinking, a text message brought him back to reality, and the content of the text message is, I can also see the world you see. Come to Ark High School. It is precisely because of this sentence. Deep West decides to change the status quo. He not only tittied up the living room, he also took off the cardboard attached to the window. The other side, good and evil, came to school as usual. It turned out that the school bully has a crush on his male classmates. Drawn. See your secrets being exposed. Good and evil rage. However, when he reached his seat, the items in his bookcase were taken out. And not only that, the bully is still in front of the whole class. Read his love letter to a boy. This completely angered Good and Evil. He wanted to go up and take the love letter. As a result, He was even more severely retaliated by the school bully. Just as the school bully beat up Good and Evil, the head teacher came to the classroom. But people are still turning a blind eye to this. And this also completely touches the bottom line of the head teacher. I saw him come forward and grab the school bully. Shake your hair. When I saw the love letter, I tore him to shreds. Afterwards, the head teacher wanted to comfort Good and Evil. But Good and Evil have long been seen clearly. The teacher will just perfunctory immediately expressed his desire to go home and rest. When you're ready to go home, suddenly found an extra pair of eyes popped out of nowhere in his locker mirror, but he doesn't know it's these glasses will pull him into the endless abyss. On the other hand, Han-ji-wook always feels weird. He couldn't understand why Oh Jang-min wanted to kill. What's the motive for the murder? If you simply hate the girl who broke up, that was last year too. Why did you choose? Now, in order to understand what's going on, he returned to Oh Jang-min's house again. Through survey, he found that the walls and ceilings of the house were dotted with red lines. It made him feel a little weird for a while. At the same time, Good and Evil put on glasses as soon as they got home. The weird thing is when he puts on his glasses, and he saw that red thread on his head. Soon Good and Evil were taken to the hospital. Uncle Han Ji-wook also rushed over in a hurry. He blamed himself deeply for his niece. But just then, Lee Gyu-jin told Han Ji-wook decisively, Good and Evil never commit suicide. The incident of falling from the building because of Good and Evil. The schools were exploding, but the Chinese teacher didn't come to school again. Dean of Academic Affairs. They yell at teachers for how they manage their students. And let this happen at school. If you want to die, you should die at home. How to choose a school. This sentence completely infuriated a teacher. He didn't think the director should have said such a thing. Good and Evil happen. All teachers are responsible, including himself. But he blamed it all on the students. The argument between the two teachers became more and more intense. The surrounding teachers immediately pulled the two apart. On the other side, Shin Hyun-hyuk comes to the classroom. I found out that Jin Hyun didn't come to school either, and he comes up to the rooftop. I want to see if there are any useful clues. Just when you are deeply fascinated by looking west, a female classmate came over. He is Lee Jin from the next class. He seemed to see that Deep West was looking for evidence. It claims to know Good and Evil. In his eyes, Good and Evil are no ordinary characters. Suicide is laughable to him, and every day with bullying meetings of Good and Evil. I didn't come to school when something happened in Good and Evil. Therefore, it is concluded that the other party is suspicious. If we assume this was not a suicide, but if he kills, the most suspicious is the person closest to you. Just as Lee Kyung-jin chattered endlessly, a passing male classmate caught his attention. Lee Gyu-jin stopped the other party without saying a word, and before he knew it, he took out his eyes. It turned out that he thought there was something wrong with the boy's glasses. After some investigation, I didn't feel anything wrong. They gave it back to each other. Little do I know that there is a pair of glasses at this time. It's sitting on the English teacher's desk. Young-woo asked the head teacher in doubt with his glasses. As a result, the head teacher took the glasses, but revealed a strange smile. The head teacher claims that the glasses suit him well. I suggest he can wear it. However, when he put on his glasses, under the strange scene in front of him, can't help but sit up from the stool. I saw that every teacher in the office had a red line on his head. At night, Young-woo came to his sister's house. He was shocked to see, in addition to the red thread connecting the sister on the brother-in-law, there are several other red lines. After dinner, when the elevator in the same city with my brother-in-law goes downstairs, he noticed a red line running down. When the two returned to the elevator again, the brother-in-law subconsciously pressed the button on the 4th floor. Then he said he pressed the wrong button. Young-woo, who noticed something strange, took advantage of his brother-in-law's inattention, secretly pressed the button on the 4th floor, and secretly pay attention to the reaction of the brother-in-law. After the elevator door is opened, Young-woo found the red thread on his brother-in-law's head. Point straight to the deepest part of the corridor, just as he was about to go forward and find out. The next day, Han Ji-wook found the head teacher. I want to know about my niece. Apologies to the Good and Evil head teacher. He is from Ban Island. I don't even know the situation of my students. Charceritos are crushing about. Before you know it, after the whereabouts of the students who bullied Good and Evil are unknown, Han Ji-wook found that night and Good and Evil dating boy. We know Good and Evil through each other. After taking the photo, found something missing, so he turned around and retrieved the surveillance in the jewelry store. It turned out that the person who takes away Good and Evil officially responds. According to surveillance along the road, Han Ji-wook discovered the last place the camp disappeared was near the park. At the same time, Young-woo came to the school to find the head teacher. Ask if you find out that a clean person is having an affair, how will he handle it? The teacher's answer is that it is possible. At night, when Kim Jong-woo and his sister went home together, I found a courier package at the door. Sister mentioned, this package should belong to a Type 401 household. I don't know why it keeps getting delivered by mistake. This further aroused Kim Jong-woo's suspicion, so I turned around and arrived at the door of 401. Sure enough, he saw a young woman dressed fashionably, picked up the courier, and entered the room. Then he learned from his sister. Brother-in-law rarely goes home due to frequent business trips recently. He wanted to remind his sister to take care of her skin. Behind this seemingly ordinary concern, hidden deep worries. He places great importance on the marital status of his sister and brother-in-law because of his father have been unfaithful with his ex-girlfriend. To seek justice for my sister, Kim Jong-woo begins secretly tracking his brother-in-law. Sure enough, in a restaurant, he witnessed his brother-in-law behaving intimately with another woman. He immediately dialed his brother-in-law. As a result, the brother-in-law lied that he was having a meeting away from home. Immediately after, Kim Jong-woo pretended to pass by the woman and then quietly wrote down their hotel room number. Then he came to the hotel. The intertwined red lines of the corridor shows the chaotic relationship between the residents. He rang the doorbell, forcibly pulled my brother-in-law out, facing the sudden appearance of brother-in-law. Brother-in-law. He can only confess. Brother-in-law assures brother-in-law. This matter will be completely resolved on the same day, in order not to ruin my sister's marriage. Young Woo chose silence. Next day, the computers in the school office are crowded with teachers. It turned out to be a national language teacher conference camp. The photo was posted on the school forum. The whole school was buzzing. At the same time, the police found it in the parking lot. The teacher committed suicide in the car, in the passenger seat, left a suicide note scribbled by himself. The content is that during his tenure, have a relationship with a student. I'm sorry to my family for that. Was exposed due to the incident. He cannot bear humiliation and guilt, so he ended his life. Gold forensic identification. The death time of Gowan teacher was 3 days ago. Han Ji-wook listened. I suddenly concluded that this is not the first scene. It's reason. A car was found parked here for 3 days. It doesn't make any sense. And the photo of the school forum was only uploaded today. This also indirectly suggests that teacher Gowan knew that he would be exposed. On the other hand, because of the girlfriend's affair, he's going to leave and go out to relax. As a result, the head teacher came up and asked, "How are things going?" It seems he knows something. Then he found out by dying. Brother-in-law's mistress has updated the news, and inside is the little 3. She released images of her pregnancy. Seeing this, he immediately returned to his sister's community. As a result, I saw a person in the community driving the car. Crazy crash into another car. I walked up and found out. The little 3 is panicking for help. He immediately understood something, immediately went forward and pulled my sister out of the car. As a result, my sister went to ask him why he did this. This stunned Jung-yu for a while. It just so happened that the brother-in-law returned to the community at this time. I saw a group of people gathered under my building, immediately rush up. In the end, I heard the mistress say, "The other party is driving to hit himself." The brother-in-law immediately hugged the little 3 to express comfort. The result angered Jung-yu. He immediately stepped forward and punched his brother-in-law, just as he was about to punch his brother-in-law again, but ushered in a shocking reversal. It turned out that the relationship between my brother-in-law was going to end that day. It was him and sister Jung-yu's. On the other side, Han Ji-wook found Shin Hyun-hyu. I want to know about that night. Why did my niece go back to school? After all, only he said, good and evil have no reason to commit suicide. As a result, he was in deep trouble. But he didn't answer the question and asked him, "Have you noticed the glasses of good and evil?" This immediately attracted the attention of the Han order. Immediately asked him what's going on with his eyes. I can't help but suspect that straight women falling from buildings is also related to glasses. Shin Ha-yin he asked him to find the glasses. Only then will he tell Han Ji-wook. Then Han Ji-wook came to his niece's room, looking for glasses, and a notebook caught his attention. The screen changes. He found Shin Ha-yin he asked about the glasses his niece wears. Can you see it? What ordinary people cannot see? And Shin Ha-yin he also revealed the secret of the glasses. He learned from the deep mouth of the stream. Just wear glasses. You can see people who are having sex. There will be a red wire connected. You ask a fly eye and show me him. Gentlemen. Shin Ha-yin he doesn't know either, but the only certainty is good and evil feel impossible to commit suicide. After all, he threatened a lot of people with his eyes. At this time, Han Ji-wook proposed, will there be many pairs of these eyes? The assumption is, after all, there has been a string of similar cases recently. However, just as Han Ji-wook said, there is indeed more than one pair of eyes. Deep information back home. I found out that the TV news was broadcasting a case when the alleged offender is arrested, still talking about getting clean or something. It's not hard to see from here. Glasses worn by the alleged offender. It's the eye that sees the red line. At the same time, on the other side, Han Ji-wook is combing through the case with his colleagues. I think it was the Gowan teacher who pushed good and evil downstairs. Too much blame to commit suicide. Although this is currently the most robust speculation. But through his family, teacher Gowan suffers from a serious fear of heights, so it might not be him. However, Han Ji-wook discovered a key. Their glasses. Ever since my niece put on her glasses, she has changed. Now to investigate clues about the red line. Han Ji-wook found out the year. The case of Mother in the West. According to the investigation, the mother who was in the West found that her husband was having an affair with her sister, and they stabbed him to death. And the deep line West that sees everything. Draw out the red line. At this time, he increasingly believes in the existence of the red line. The next day at the hotel, part-time deep line, West welcomed a special customer. Name the name and ask for room 206. As soon as he entered the room, He immediately lay on the bed, talking to himself, saying that he has had sex with many men. After saying that, he laughed to himself. And this woman is no one else. It is an employee of the administrative office of Shengshan West School. Her name is Kim Mi-seong. She looks quiet. Inside, he's a crazy person. I don't know why. She was repeatedly ostracized and scolded by her superiors. And I went home just a little louder. Will be disliked by the neighbors next door. Over time, and he got scared. Your own voice will be heard. Until that day, he opened a daylight room, an old hotel that looked empty, only to find a pair of glasses on the table. When he put it on, what comes into view is an intricate red line. At the moment, suddenly you understand the meaning of this red line. I also saw my own perfection. However, one day, he found a hole in the wall of the room, where he became an audience member. The pleasure gave him a strong inner satisfaction. Just then, the sound of the door closing next door to 205 caught his attention. Excited, he put on his glasses. I want to be an audience again. However, unexpectedly, the protagonist this time, it was the music teacher he had a crush on for a long time, but it didn't take long. A strange woman also walked into the room. I saw two people with a red line above their heads. His heart began to warp. Hear the guests coming from next door. His eyes also became more and more fierce. After learning that the other party will come at the same time tomorrow, he suddenly had a fierce plan in his heart. So the next day he came to the room in advance. Neil was first in the mineral water. Then came a bottle of fire extinguisher. As the time came, he suddenly opened his eyes. The corners of his mouth unconsciously revealed a cold smile. The woman has just entered the hotel. Kim Mi-seong picks up the fire extinguisher, hit the opponent's head hard. Then he put on women's clothes, painted with the red lips that symbolize death. Then he entered room 405, but the music teacher recognized the person in front of him at a glance. He is very confused about the arrival of the other party. As a result, Kim Mi-seong began to confide in her love. She claims to have had sex with many men, but since her appearance, Gwamping has sex with strangers, can't satisfy the emptiness in her heart. Kim Mi-seong is afraid, fear of not having a music teacher. The result is not finished yet. He was thrown aside, but Kim Mi-seong let out the laughter of a saint. But the music teacher didn't want to entangle him too much, ready to turn around and leave. Result, Kim Mi-seong throws the stapler out of her hand. And that's when the drug starts to work. The next second he fell straight into the bathroom. The screen changes. Kim Mi-seong at this time, Star has dragged the music teacher to the bed, just as he kept telling his love, unaware of the blood flowing from the back of the music teacher's head. When he found out, he didn't call the savior the first time. Instead, lie down on the other person and light up. Then start enjoying the pleasure of riding a horse. And the red line on the music teacher's head slowly dissipates. The disappearance of the red line also represents death. Afterwards, he lay in the bathtub. Hold the stapler and keep pressing on your body. I don't know how long it has been. Part-time Deepline West comes to the hallway. I happen to bump into the door with a woman. Seeing this scene, Deepline West immediately stepped forward to help, and women keep telling their stories. He realizes something. Immediately turn around and look at room 205. Realizing that something was wrong, he immediately rushed in. In the end, I saw that the dead could not. The music teacher who died again soon, Han Ji-wook, a criminal police officer, rushed to the scene of the crime, looking at the whole body being booked up. Kim Mi-seong of the stapler, full of questions, asked Lee Gyu-jin immediately. Could these things have something to do with glasses? Although he doesn't want to admit Kim has been wearing glasses at school. It looks like it's just a pair of glasses and before he came to dabble, it looks completely different from school. Then he told the other party, those glasses are really dangerous. No one is an exception. The words of Deepline West made the Korean order feel uneasy. Now return to the crime scene again. He took the plug off the bath. Sure enough, the pair of glasses lay quietly at the bottom of the bathtub. To verify the existence of the red line, he immediately put on his glasses. The self in the mirror creeps him out. The next day, Han Ji-wook came to work at the police station. Look at the red lines on the heads of colleagues. He looked amazed again. But just then, a female high school student came to the police station to report the crime. And Han Ji-wook, at a glance, you can see the four red lines on the girl's head. I learned from the girl. He went a week ago and was an idol together. The trainee's brother's house. But after a glass of wine, he lost consciousness. When he woke up, I found my underwear upside down. Therefore, He suspected that he might be sexually assaulted, but when the interrogator asked him if he had any sexual experience, the girl rejected each other. Han Ji-wook with eyes. You can tell at a glance that the other party is lying. To find out the truth of the matter, he went to the girl's school the next day. However, I just entered the school. I saw the head teacher Lee Kyujin. It turned out that the other party did not have a red line. I can't help but wonder if Lee Kyujin's mother is still single. Chastity before marriage. Lee Kyujin learned that Shanner was still hospitalized, so he proposed to visit with his classmates. But he was rejected by Han Ji-wook. Then Han Ji-wook found the boy in the girl's mouth. However, as a sexual assault suspect, but not a trace of fear. He even answered the questions fluently. He even bluntly stated that he had never slept with each other. Seeing that they can't ask anything, the two can only leave. As a result, I just turned my head and encountered a deep depression. And deep down I see the eyes. Immediately want to take it off Han Ji-wook's face. As a result, Han Ji-wook made a case like glasses. Shin Hyun-hee's attitude remains tough. In his opinion, whether it's good or evil or the man upstairs before, it's all because of these glasses. Therefore, he did not want the pair of glasses to stay in Han-zi Asahi's side. Just as the two were arguing, Lee Kyujin came over. Seeing that the head teacher Lee Kyujin left here immediately, and Han Ji-wook saw Lee Kyujin, but ready to invite each other to dinner. However, just as he left, the head teacher showed a playful smile. Sure enough, Lee Kyujin has the ability to fall into a deep suction because both are minors. In addition, the case is too sensitive. This made it difficult for Han Ji-wook. Then he thought of glasses. Maybe you can use your glasses to see the red line. So the two were summoned again the next day. And Seo Han-yu, in order to prove himself, and took out the text message of that day. Judging from the text messages, that day, he took the initiative to find Seo Han-yu to drink, so it's nothing special. On the other hand, they deleted all the text messages there. The explanation for that is, I didn't believe it was true at the time. Therefore, there is no option to call the police at the first time. Can't ask anything. Han Ji-wook immediately opened the door. As Seo Han-yu walked out of the interrogation, it was found that there was no red line connecting the two. Now Han Ji-wook has no way at all. However, he still solemnly asked Kong Suna again, did you really have a relationship with Seo Han-yu? Kong Suna didn't speak. But the look of grievance does seem real. At night, Han Ji-wook found Shin Hyun-hyuk. Although there are some dangers in glasses as he said, but it might also help someone. Just like when Lee Kyujin helped the No. 200 for girl. Hearing this, Lee Kyujin immediately wondered who the other party saved. Han Ji-wook didn't hide it either. When in his class, Kong Suna was sexually assaulted, and there is no red line between the two at all. Kong Suna clearly said that she has no experience, but he has for red wires on his head. Deepline West immediately refuted after listening. What Jenna said is probably true. It turned out to be a week ago. He saw that there was no red line on Jenna's head at all. Han Ji-wook immediately realized that something was wrong. Immediately came to Seo Han-yu's house. Discovered that the other party not only suffers from cleanliness, even a serious coercion. However, he still found that the changed sheets don't match the style of the house. So before the light of day, to the recycling bin. Through some searching, sure enough, I found the bloody sheet. It has been identified by the National Search Department that those are indeed acceptable. But Han Ji-wook still doesn't understand. Why are the two wires not connected? To investigate the truth of the matter, he replaced Seo Han-yu Chuan again for the blood with plasmid on the sheets. He said he didn't know. As for the other party's pursuit of themselves, Seo Han-yu said that it was not his dish at all. The other teacher is clamoring to come to the house. That's why I let him come and put that home. I took some of the remaining foreign wine for him to drink. After drinking, I'm so noisy that I don't want to go home. So I went to the supermarket and bought him a bottle of beer. What did Han Ji-wook think of? Immediately investigate the monitoring of convenience stores. Everything is just as Seo Han-yu said. He did go out to buy wine. This made Han Ji-wook begin to suspect. Did someone take advantage of Seo Han-yu to buy wine? Entering his house violated Shimmer. But the voice just fell. For people on surveillance caught his attention. Discovered through monitoring. The red line when for people enter. An extra one is added to the red line that comes out. And it coincides with the 4 red lines on the head. So the next day, Han Ji-wook brought the 4 people back to the police station respectively. They didn't interrogate him. He picked one. I brought it to the vicinity of Seo Han-yu's house to check. The boy saw this place, but there is some inexplicable fear. Immediately want to run away. As a result, he was caught again without running too far. When I heard that I was going to be taken to the police station, the others were sent home. He was completely devastated. After some ideological struggle, the boys decided to have a showdown. Original! It was the four of them who violated Kong Suna that day. But all this was planned by Seo Hanyu, because they talk all day long about being beautiful. Suddenly, Seo Hanyu called that day and said, he can help them sleep with Kong Suna, but only if you give him money. However, when they arrived, Seo Hanyu has already used it to make Kong Suna faint. And Seo Hanyu, I also witnessed them sexually assaulting Kong Suna at home. Soon Han Ji-wook found the drug in Seo Hanyu's house, facing ironclad evidence. The Chinese still want to try to argue. If a ghost hand appears in front, the ghost is very fast. After handling the pledge case, Han Ji-wook and Shin Hyun-hee are going home. Suddenly, a call came from the nursing home to learn that his father had disappeared again. He can only let Hyun-hee get out of the car first. I'm going to a nursing home. When he arrived at the sanatorium, but was told, own father, taken away by a strange woman. When he wants to see who the woman is, but found that the other party turned out to be the head teacher Lee Kyu-jin. And Lee Kyu-jin even glanced at the surveillance camera. And that's when he got a message. The content of the message is a photo of good and evil. Realizing that something was wrong, he rushed to the hospital immediately. When he arrived at the hospital, there is nothing wrong with discovering good and evil. However, just then, he discovered good and evil. The red line on the head suddenly moved, and the red line goes up to the outside of the ward. Realizing something, he immediately pulled out his pistol. As the ward door opens, it was his father who appeared. I saw my father keep talking about good and evil. Just when Han Ji-wook wondered why his father was here, shocked to find good and evil, the red thread on his head is actually connected to his father. Deep line suction on the other side is written by both hands. Sitting on the ground, he trembled. I called Han Ji-wook and it was you who called for help. At the same time, now West begins to confess to Lee Kyung-jin. It means that I can see it since I was a child. What ordinary people cannot see. But the voice just fell when Lee Kyung-jin looked back. Already, put on the eyes that can see the red line. This surprised Shin for a while, wondering where the other person got his glasses from. Lee Kyung-jin did not answer Shin's question. Instead, asked if he is dead. You can see the red line even without glasses. But at this time, Lee Kyung-jin is slowly coming from not far away. Come on, he looks so ordinary, but the eyes reveal wisdom beyond human beings and chilling coldness. Original! He planned all this. When he lifted the white cloth, Han Ji-wook's father suddenly appeared. Seeing this, he immediately ran up. Just when Han Ji-wook untied his father, Lee Kyung-jin uses the excuse of saving good and evil. Let him kill his father. When Han Ji-wook raises his hand and leaves, when I was about to kill my father, he suddenly turned his head and touched Lee Kyung-jin. But as an ordinary human being, is it Lee Kyung-jin's opponent? Take a slight shot. Han Ji-wook was helpless, and the dagger was easily taken away. With blood spurting out, the life of Han Ji-wook's father also ended here. However, no matter how Han Ji-wook pulls the trigger, bullets still can't get through the barrier. Frequent. He is destined not to kill Lee Kyung-jin. I saw Lee Kyung-jin. He stepped forward and grabbed Han Ji-wook's neck. Then he was brought up. Hye-in on the other side, also locked by Lee Kyung-jin's neck. Panic. During this period, Shin knocked off Lee Jin's real glasses. Seeing this, Lee Jin really wanted to pick it up madly. Shin came forward quickly. I stepped on my glasses. With the broken glasses, Lee Kyung-jin also woke up at this time. He looked around blankly. He's obviously forgotten what just happened. However, just then, he noticed that Shin's pupils had changed color. At this time, Shin also noticed an abnormality. The blood that pierced the skin was suspended in the air, floating as the blood rises. Next second, he also came to Lee Kyung-jin's spiritual world. I saw Han Ji-wook floating in the air. Shin immediately stopped Lee Kyung-jin. The latter immediately threw Han Ji-wook aside after hearing this. He was very puzzled by Lee Kyung-jin's actions. Can't help but ask why the other party would do such a thing. He told Shin that it was not a curse he suffered. It's a blessing. It's his gift. But now the West doesn't agree so much. Because of the red line, humans are starting to kill each other, and his family and friends are also dead. This is not a blessing at all for Shin. In Lee Kyung-jin's eyes, those are human curiosity. Didn't he notice? Those who want to see the red line hide their desires. And it's just something that happens for those desires. Accompanying Lee Kyung-jin's career, the surrounding believers surrounded the two in the middle. Just when Lee Kyung-jin slashed at Shin with a knife, a woman stood in front of Shin, and this woman is no one else. It was his mother. The mother kept apologizing to the county. Call yourself. It's too late. Mother also has eyes that can see the red line. The mother who had glasses that year. Seeing my husband with my own eyes. There is a red line connected to my sister. That's why he killed his husband. Watching my mother die before my eyes. Hye-in immediately wanted to fight with the other party. As a result, he was given a heartbreak by the other party. With blood flowing. Something weird happened. I saw the blood as if I felt some kind of guidance. Slowly rising into the air. Seeing this, Lee Kyung-jin revealed a satisfied smile. Then he used his mind to make the stream float in the air. In the next second, the blood in Line Creek's body gushed out. The blood slowly turned into a red line at this time, constantly gathering into the air, slowly formed a blood red sphere. Seeing the time is ripe, Lee Kyung-jin immediately stretched out her right hand. As the sphere gets bigger and bigger, the next second the sphere starts to explode. Just as Lee Kyung-jin was admiring her satisfactory works, Hye-in suddenly slashed his cheek with a knife, then the abdomen. But it's too late. Lee Kyung-jin today, the reason for the existence of cash interest has been proved, and his mission is complete. With Lee Kyung-jin falling to the ground, believers with dull eyes also regained their senses. He panicked when he saw the dead man. The night sky at this time is covered with red lines, and the whole of Korea got it. The ability to see the red line. At first they were just curious, but over time, the red thread is actually connected to everyone's head. For a moment, the whole of Korea Korea was in panic. After learning that the number of red lines is representative times, they start to fear of being exposed to the public. For this, the whole of South Korea was thrown into chaos for nearly a year. Although everyone wants to figure out the origin of the red line, but it backfired. But here's the good news. Good and evil wake up from their coma. In this world full of red lines, good and evil become people without red lines. And the past is now a person again. He went to his boyfriend's grave alone. Jiangxi didn't speak, but watched quietly like this. However, the head teacher's voice rang in my ears, and when he looked around, there was nothing unusual. But just then, the fourth case of the Korean drama will come to an end here. See you in the next show.